Team Blue Cow. All right. Wired
Yeah.
up. Oh, I love that the core mechanic of the game, you're already introducing it in the main menu here.
Yeah, that was one of the programmers' ideas, which we all immediately loved and spent probably a little bit too much time getting to work.
All right, well, let's go ahead and start into level one here. Sam, oh boy, I don't know if you can do a recording to prove that you can get sub 3 minutes. I mean, go ahead and watch the Twitch highlight to see some professional strats for that game. Okay, press E to interact. Let's go ahead and grab this. Let's drop it in here. Nice. I love that the plug's facing the wrong way.
Yeah, that was a issue that we never got around to fixing in jam time.
No, but
We got
I think
very,
it adds to the
very close
character
towards
of
the
it.
end.
Oop. Wait, so can you just walk too close to it and then yeah? I don't know. I think it's and then I got to push this on here. I get it. All right. I love the squash and stretch that you've got in the character, and that's
Yeah,
done programmatically, isn't it?
yeah, I did it through the just Unity transforms and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a real big fan of that. I know that. I'm realizing this should probably go on the far side here. All right, I'll.
Yeah, it was a visual bug that we had there. There's supposed to be a wire coming out the other side of that terminal, going into that door.
Oh,
Something
okay.
that we forgot to add in.
Okay, so if I step on this, then that wire gets power and the door opens. But I can put the plug on the button. No, I can't. Okay. Uh, can I
Uh,
do? Was that supposed to be the solution?
no, no.
Oh, all right, all right. Um, hmm. Oh, all right. I'll I'll figure this out, and let's go ahead and throw in the um, next question, which was, what was your development process like? Well, you were working on the art specifically, so how did that go?
Yeah, I mean, we sat on Discord for basically 48 hours, me and my team. So we were kind of all there when everything was happening all at once. And so after sort of brainstorming for an hour on Miro and sort of ironing out our basic mechanics and things, all the different puzzle elements we wanted to implement, we quickly sort of delegated jobs to different people to get things done. So one guy was in charge of setting up the movement and picking up things, and one guy was in charge of getting all the wiring stuff working. One of us was in charge of getting the sort of audio and menus working, and then I was in charge of the art. So I kind of just sort of made the art as they were programming and as I watched them program, which it kind of meant that whenever they needed an art for anything, I quickly threw that to default one together and then made a nicer bit of art for whatever mechanic they just implemented.
Nice. We've got a question from Burrito Claire. Actually, a comment, a highlighted message, 220, 221, whatever it takes. I'm not entirely certain what you're in reference to, but did you use 2D meshes for animating the character?
No, it was just standard sprites like that. It's actually very few sprites for the player. I think there's only about 5. That idle animation, for example, is one sprite that I'm just using the Unity transforms to add a little bit of squash and stretch to on a rhythm.
Yes.
The run is like 2 frames. That again, it's just lots of squash and stretch. Save me time from drawing loads and loads of frames.
Yeah, so I know programming. This is a NAND gate, isn't it? One or the other, but not both.
Yeah, it's exclusive or.
Oh, right. NAND is something different. Okay. I know programming. Let me go ahead and say the wrong thing immediately. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's the AND gate up there. This one. Okay, whoa. Huge physical impulse. And then, but of course I have to take it up there with me. So we got to take, well, I can, oh, I know. Okay. I got this figured out. What did you actually create the art in? What program were you using for that?
I used Photoshop
Okay.
to make
And
all the art.
do you have a pen tablet that you drew with?
Yeah, just a small one, but yeah, nothing big and
Nice.
fancy.
Okay. So here we go. This is our not gate. And how many levels are there in the game actually?
There's 10. We wanted more, and we wanted more complex ones, but uh, all of our levels got very rushed towards the end of development within the last couple hours. So we would have liked to have spent a lot more time developing the puzzles, but we just didn't have the time, unfortunately.
No, I think it's much more important that it's just, functional and then you can worry about. Oop. All right. Oh, and it's both glad to see that both you and Cosmic are here. Your game is going to be up next after this one because it works out perfectly because this game was a random one and then yours is going to be the scheduled one and that'll be it for tonight. So yeah, just to give a heads up to everyone in chat, if I didn't get to try your game tonight, then don't worry. As long as it's in the queue, I will get to it eventually. And yeah, we're going to just be continuing with the stream tomorrow, pretty much all throughout the day. I will try to send you a message at some point to give you a heads up when I could potentially be trying your game, and we'll coordinate a time that works best so that you can be present when your game is being played live. Burrito Eclair, you got a lot of mileage out of these 2 frames with splash and stretch. I completely agree. Like, it's a very jaunty little fellow here for only 2 frames of animation.
Yeah, my biggest tip to any developers who think they aren't very good at art: you can make a simple square look so much nicer. Just give it a little bit of squash and stretch when it jumps.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised at just how much work that does in making your game look really nice.
And I'm going to add to that really quickly, and I'll say you've got squash and stretch on this character. What you should also do is, as they compress vertically, you should make them stretch out horizontally. It's an animation principle called preservation of mass, and that's the idea that if the character squishes inward horizontally, they should grow taller, and then vice versa. Just try it out if you get the opportunity, and I promise it's instantly going to look even just that tiny bit better.
Yeah, there's a small amount of that on the jump where immediately after pressing jump, he stretches really tall and thin,
Yeah,
and then as he reaches the top, he gets a little bit fatter and shorter. And especially when he
nice,
hits the ground when landing, he really compresses outwards and becomes short and fat.
perfect. Yeah, so I guess I just didn't notice it in the idle animation, so that's why I wanted to mention it. But yeah, so here we go. Let's see. Yeah, now I'm got this. I think we're starting to get into the truly complex logic gates here, and I feel like I kind of stumbled through to the solution on that one, but I must have done something right. Um,
The last two, especially this one, were literally thrown together in the last like 10 minutes, so they're very
oh
easy
boy.
to sort of stumble your way through and cheese your way through without actually figuring out the solution.
Well, I mean, better that it should be like maybe easier than you expected than to end up in a situation where it's like, oh, we made this level in the last 10 minutes of the jam and we didn't have a chance to test it, so it's broken and impossible. Like, that's unfortunately been a lot of people's stories.
Yeah, yeah, that would be a pain.
We've got. Oh, okay. Do you have actual circuitry going? You do! I see, because you're sending an impulse and then the thing turns on and the thing comes off the button and then okay, cool. So, okay, I can't take that one out because it's not actually plugged in. But yeah, let me go ahead and oh my goodness, I just realized there is a typo here. Oh no, it's not a typo. It's the fact that I had focus on the wrong window when I was trying to move around. According to Bo mentions, I always preferred animation that is allowed to go off model a little bit and add sketch and stretch. I completely agree. It's one of the main things in 3D animation that's so hard to do well because a lot of 3D meshes aren't necessarily rigged in such a way that their entire body can squash and stretch in a satisfying way, not without breaking the constraints of the model in some odd way. So, do you have a particularly useful shortcut or a clever hack in? Well, this is Unity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And any specific suggestion for shortcut in Unity that you find useful?
Wouldn't really call it a shortcut per se, but one thing that me and my team has done is just over the many projects we've done in Unity, we've slowly made ourselves a little package library of things we reuse all the time. So
Nice.
like our pause menu and our options menu is borderline the same menu we use in every single game that has volume controls and resolution controls and stuff, rather than reinventing the wheel.
Yep.
Or another one that we use all the time is we have a grid class that we made that is fairly generic and we can just use all the time. So just look through your projects once you're done and find anything that you think is useful. Make it perhaps a bit more generic if you need to, and store it somewhere for use later, so that you're not reinventing the wheel every single time.
Absolutely. I think that's a really great call, and it really speaks to the whole importance of the single responsibility principle, which is to make sure that your code isn't tangled up in a whole bunch of other classes. As tempting as it is, you can do that in a game jam, but then make sure that you go back in after the fact and clean it all up so that things aren't so tightly knit together. Use your delegates. One thing that I find that I myself doing is I'll create a class that does one thing, and I'll create another class that does another thing, and then I go like, oh, well, these have to talk to each other. I guess I should start knitting them together. That's what I used to do. And now what I do is I just create a third class that references both of the other classes and makes them talk to each other.
Yeah. That's something that we have recently just come up with. Is another one of the things that we've made generic that we use all the time. Is we've made a base application class that we've developed and we use all the time now, where it's a thing that manages all our scenes for us and manages all our instantiations for us and things like that we
Nice.
constantly reference into.
Nice.
And I guess off of that as well, another tip for anyone is at least for us personally, wherever possible, avoid using dragging references into things in classes in Unity, unless it's something that's like it's another object inside of the same prefab. Wherever possible, always try and get your references in code, because it will just make your inspectors so much tidier.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, like that being said, I did just recently discover the magic of the on-validate method, because I know that one practice that a lot of people do is they will drag and drop their. I guess let me step back a little bit. One thing that a lot of I say amateur, I think it's amateur. People will just say, oh, if you need to figure out the rigid body component on an object, just go ahead and do a get component call in the start event of your Unity object. And it's like, okay, well, you've got tons and tons of objects doing a get component check, which Unity themselves have said, like, get component is not all that speedy. Like, it does have a performance hit. And if every single object in your game is doing a couple get component calls, I mean, I feel like eventually, maybe I'm over optimizing here, but I feel like that adds up to a whole lot of slowdown, at least when you load into a new level, where everything is getting all the components off of itself. So to compensate for that, I would serialize a field, serialize a private field, and drag the reference in on the inspector myself manually. But then I discovered the onValidate method, and you can use onValidate to automatically do the get component call. That way it happens in editor time. So you can still have the shortcut of doing the get component, so you don't have to drag and drop it in the inspector yourself, but then you're saving yourself the trouble of having the get component call occur at runtime and then potentially be costly.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. OnValidate was also something that I discovered this jam specifically.
Nice.
So yeah, we've just started playing with that magic as well.
Yeah, it feels really great for someone, especially like me, who has been used to manually dragging references onto something. Who's like, oh, I can just call on and validate, and it just does it automatically. It feels like magic.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yes, Raiden, today I learned totally. So, are there any other questions from chat that you would like to ask of Goblin in particular? If not, I will just go ahead with our last question here, which is, are there any plans that you have for the game going forward?
We all like the idea of doing stuff with it at some point, but we're all very busy. Like I say, we're part of a larger team that have a larger project that we're working on at the moment, so that's kind of taking all of our time.
Nice.
I might come back to it one day. I'd quite like to, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Well, do you want to take a moment to plug what that larger project is?
Yeah, so it's like I say, we're all university students, and right now we are in the finals of a big game development competition that the university sets up every year for us. It's called Dare Academy. If you want to see more about it, they have a Twitter page that you can follow. It's Abertay Dare Academy. But it's basically just a big competition. There's a big £15,000 prize pool at the end. Yeah, that's yeah.
Wow. Nice. So, do you have a link that you can post in chat, or?
Yeah, I'll grab one. Yeah, we've got the competition itself has a Twitter page, which I'll get now. Our team also has a Twitter page. I'll link them both, I guess. I'll go grab them.
Yeah, feel free. But yeah, I see how I can totally see how a speed run of this game would be a good amount of fun. Because it is very
I see.
simple and
Yeah, I see someone else has got the Abertay Dare page, and that's the Twitter link to our specific team as well.
perfect. All right. That's great. Burrito Eclair, thank you so much for hopping on that.
Thank you for
And
having me.
yeah, Nuclear Goblin, or I guess I should say Jay, thank you so much for being on the call. And if you do have any other projects that you would like design feedback on, that's what I am usually doing on the channel when I'm not doing these interviews, is just trying out games and having conversations with developers and, yeah, just talking about games that they're working on and helping be a soundboard for whatever the project is that they're working on.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely. I might even perhaps get in touch back when we're further in development with our current project. But
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again. And I don't know, I definitely get caught up in the too long of a goodbye sort of thing. It's very Eastern European of me. That's just by descent. Anyway,
Right.
yeah, talk to you again soon.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right, and with that, we are going to go ahead and we've got our last game of the evening for today's stream, at least, which is going to be, well, first of all, I've been doing this with everyone else, so I will pull up. So this is the Team Blue Cow in particular. Here we go. So this is the project. This looks very charming. And then this is the Dare Academy. So, yeah, from Dundee, Scotland. All right.